So here's maybe one of the most important questions you could ask yourself, and most importantly, answer. To have the life that you deserve and that you really, really want and need. And that is, are you living the default life? And the default life, real simple definition, I'll give you more later, is, are you living the life you think you're supposed to live, that other people in society tell you this is how you live your life, and then you discover it's not right for me, or that part of it, some parts may be. So in this video, I'm going to give you the awareness that you need so that you can identify your previous life and your current life, and to what degree it's just what I think I'm supposed to do rather than what I need and want to do. And the biggest thing is how you can not only get out of it, but that you can determine, design, and customize a life that's right for you.
Helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a New Way Forward podcast with your host, Paul Long.
The default life. It has existed since the beginning of humanity. And back in the early days of humanity, the default life was pretty much necessary and the only option, which was to survive. But we're now in the 21st century. And the default life is defined as living the life you think you're supposed to live, as dictated by parents or marketers or politicians or religious leaders or society as a whole. There's a great German word, Zeitgeist, which is kind of like, here's the trend, here's what's everybody doing. Oh, okay, I'll do that too. And in some cases that's fine, or better yet, parts of it are fine. But we never really ask the question, is this right for me? Is this what I need? Or I'm doing this that's a default thing and it's not right for me, and that's affecting other parts of my life. Because every aspect of our life, from how we earn a living to fun, health, family, personal growth, whatever, they're all interconnected. And so when we're living something and being a certain way just because we think we're supposed to, we're not being true to our life. And, with a lot of people, they're like, well, this is good enough. I'll go along with it, or I'm not even going to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. And what happens is that in the short term, it's like, whew, I dodged that bullet, but you didn't dodge the howitzer that was shooting at you, because over time, it's the drip, drip, drip water torture of misery, because you're dissatisfied with your life, you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, something's missing, whatever, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and typically it makes us less and less likely to change it. And the number one regret on people's deathbeds, and multiple surveys have shown this, is that I never lived the life that was right for me. I never went for it. Do you want to be on your deathbed going, I blew it, this one pass I have at this life, when it is so attainable to instead be aware, the default life. How much of that have I been living? Where's my unhappiness? Where's my dissatisfaction? Where do I feel like there could be more from life or myself? Why am I not living that? How do I live that instead? And I want to add that in a lot of cases, and kind of in my case, it was when I decided I needed to change my life and I needed to figure out what I was going to do in olderhood. What is that going to be? And by the way, one of the biggest default lives is saying, well, you're supposed to retire. It's nirvana. It's great. And here in the 21st century, most people, I won't say most people, a growing number of people are going into retirement just because that's the default. That's what you're supposed to do, and it's supposed to be wonderful. And they get into it, and after a year or two of bliss, they're like, this isn't wonderful. I'm lacking purpose and fulfillment and meaning and relevance and things of that sort. And I'm going into decline in my health and my cognition and stuff earlier than I should be, because I'm not living the life that's right for me. So anytime we're faced with a life change, and sometimes it's in a crisis, you can be 31, when loss of a relationship, your career's not working out, you got fired, you hate your job, someone close to you dies. Whenever we're in crisis, that's actually an excellent time to take this on. because you're already open to the fact that you've got to make a change. So as long as you've got to make a change that's ideal for you, and not just in that one aspect that created the crisis, but in all parts of your life, because they all work together. And so that's why I've got the design method that I'm going to walk you through, that's going to give you the wherewithal, and this is so eminently doable. It's going to get you on the way so that you can determine, at least at this time in your life, what you really need, want, and deserve by designing and customizing a life that's right for you. Okay, the first one is the letter D in design, which is to determine. It's to determine what you really want and need in life. It's to determine what you value in life. I'm not just talking about morals and, like I value integrity and honesty. No, it's like, what things in life, what are the moments in life where I felt immensely grateful and satisfied and loving what I was having or experiencing? What are the things that I truly value? When years ago I was designing my new way forward, I got to ask that question. Real quick way to do it. Close your eyes and think about some time when everything just seemed to be great and was wonderful. And maybe you'll think of several times, or like me, I actually struggled to remember it, but I did remember in a moment when it was several things where I was just like, this is great, this is wonderful, this is the way it should be for me. Well, one of the things that was right for me that I valued in my second career, I was missing. And so I realized in my life change, I needed it. And then the other thing is the must-haves in life. What must we have? For instance, in my olderhood, I know that I needed a strong purpose. I needed to put myself out there and be challenged and get the satisfaction of accomplishing, and I wanted to make a difference, things that I valued. And so I had to design a life that was kind of the opposite of what traditional retirement is, in which I'm doing this new way forward thing, which fulfills those needs for me, along with the other things I determined that I needed in my life. And this leads to the E word, which is envision. Start envisioning. What would my life look like and be like in all respects that would make me very happy and satisfied with what I'm doing and how I'm living? Start actually just kind of fantasizing, daydreaming. Just, it's something you can do while driving safely, or on a walk, or cooking a meal, doing something that doesn't take much effort. Or, you can take the time to do it and start envisioning, what would that look like? It gets your brain going. So many of these steps that I'm doing here just get your brain to thinking. It goes front of mind. Literally, the way your brain is wired is that you're telling it this is important, and so it puts it front of mind, and you start coming up with ideas and realizations. So envisioning what it looks like, feels like, smells like. Here's something I did. I don't know how I came up with this, but thank goodness I did. It was huge. Is that I said, man, to get started here, I got to go as fundamental as I can, just really basic, not specifically what it is or how it's happening, but just what it is I wanted. And what it was I thought, how do I, with my new way forward, living my new way forward, do I want to feel every morning when I wake up? Like before I lift my head off the pillow. And it's got to be really basic and broad. And I'll tell you what mine are, but you come up with your own. So number one was I woke up. That's pretty fundamental and basic, but necessary. But that led to number two. I feel great. I'm in great health. I don't have any big illnesses. I'm not going to the doctor all the time. I'm not on a bunch of medications. I'm free and able to do what I want to do. And then the next thing is that I'm loving the life that I'm living. I'm living the life that's right for me, which led to the next one. Well, it led to the one that was behind that, meaning I have the wherewithal health-wise to do it. And then the next thing that I thought is I'm really excited about today, whether I'm doing something fun like being here at a friend's lake house, or I'm doing some new way forward stuff. I'm loving it. I'm so frigging grateful for it. And then the last thing with me was I don't have to put any energy or worry into money. I've got all that we need. And I don't need a Swiss, I don't want a Swiss Chalet or a Lamborghini or something, but we're totally comfortable. I'm putting my energy into other things. Super basic and a great foundation to start with. Because if I came up with some idea, but it didn't do the health thing or it didn't do the money thing, okay, that's not right for me. It became a great starting point, as I said. The S is for scope. In other words, the full scope of your life. As I talked about a moment ago, it's all parts of your life, not just one part. When I was leaving television news and looking for another way to earn an income and move forward, all I thought about was what I could succeed at and earn a living at. I didn't take into account the other parts of my life, and all that mattered. And it was a huge mistake. Even if I had pursued the path that I ended up taking, I would have taken it differently, because I would have said, I have to integrate family time and health and these other things. That's got to be part of my strategy and execution, and I didn't do that. So I have a great solution for you. I'll give it to you here real quick, but I have a longer video to walk you through it, and even a link to both are down in the description or below the video. That I took something called a wheel of life, is what most people call it, which real simply is 10 concentric circles, each one a ranking from 1 to 10, and then wedges that show different parts of your life: career, income, relationships, family, fun, health, all that. And by the way, when you download it, if you want to change any of those topics or add some, go ahead. And the original intent was to do an inventory, mark on the appropriate ring where you think you are now. Well, what I changed it into is to go ahead and do that, but then to say, okay, what do I eventually want my health to be, or career, or income, whatever? And even let's just go ahead and say, well, all 10s. Okay, fine. Here's the big thing. All right, what does that look like? What does a 10 in health? What does a 10 in fun? What does a 10 in relationship? What do they look like? You see what you're doing? You're actually defining what those are. And you're also figuring out what you need to do to get there and achieve it. And it's also understanding your why. Asking yourself why several times. Here's what I mean by that. With health, it's like, I want to be healthy. Well, that's all people usually do sometimes. And then they wonder, why did I join the gym and quit 2 weeks later? Because they didn't have their why. So why do you want to be healthy? Because I want to feel good. Why do you want to feel good? Well, I don't want to be sick. Why don't you want to be sick? Well, because I want to be able to do everything I want to do. Well, why do you want to be able to do everything you want to do? I'll throw in a what there. What is that? Well, I want to do this new way forward thing. I want to be healthy and there for, my wife and my kids and hopefully grandkids someday. Now I know why I am doing it. And that kind of meaningful why, and keeping that front of mind on those days when I've been working on this or whatever, and I'm tired and I'm beat up, and it's like 3:30, I want to get to the gym by 4. It gives me the natural motivation and therefore the natural discipline to get off my butt, go get my shoes in my gym bag, as James Clear of Atomic Habits would say, just focus on the next 1%. If I go upstairs and get my gym bag and my gym shoes, I'm going to the gym, and I go to the gym. But I'm glad that I did, because I know my why. So it's working on the scope, and it's using my life wheel to help you do that. Okay, the letter I in design is for identify the fundamentals. Yeah. This is usually pretty easy, and something a lot of us do anyway. What are the fundamental basic things that I need? That can be income, that can be health, that can be taking in consideration of the significant other that you have and what their needs are. I mean, it's pretty basic. It's looking at sometimes the not sexy stuff, but the necessary stuff that we need, and especially to hit that scope. What are the fundamentals that I need to do and afford and execute for health and the income and, lifestyle, all those things that we want? You need to write those down and identify them, because they need to be integrated with everything else. So the G in design is for game plan. What's your game plan? How are you going to follow through on designing your life? Now, I could give you the default method, but you know you. You can be honest with yourself and know what'll work and what's not going to work. One suggestion, though, that I strongly give is that, say, for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, every morning when I wake up, before I look at any electronics, before I read emails or any of that other kind of stuff, I'm going to spend 15 minutes thinking about this. And I'm going to do it again before I go to bed at night. And here's what happens. Where attention goes, energy and focus flows. And when you start thinking a lot about it, a lot of things happen. In the first place, you start thinking about it without even trying. But you get excited about it. You see the possibilities of it. You start wondering about things and start doing research on it. Google, AI, talking to other people. I also say, if you know anybody else is maybe trying to make a major change, but they can be, in fact, ideally totally different than you, and maybe you guys are just friends or acquaintances or whatever, you start talking with other people about it and getting their impressions, and know that some people are going to push back on you. Who do you think you are to be able to do that? Ooh, that's that default life slipping in. So you need to have a game plan to stick with it. But again, if you start strong and stay strong, you're just going to get into it. It's going to become a part of your life to figure it out. And as I did, also do the research and talking to people necessary to get ideas, but also like that retirement thing. I just assumed it was nirvana. But when I did the research, I got the awareness that that wasn't right. And then I found the ways to get the awareness of what was right and wasn't the default life for me. And then N, narrative. Create your own narrative. As you're putting this together, how would you describe it to somebody else? Better yet, create the book, the movie in your brain of what it looks like, feels like, smells like, tastes like. And in the first place, it's work in progress. You may make some adjustments. That doesn't really fit. Great, you discovered that. You can make adjustments. But the biggest thing is when you start making the narrative, is that you are more likely to not only go after it, but to succeed at it. Because you start believing it, you start wanting it, you start getting excited about it. And if you've ever heard of the power of intention or law of attraction, it's a real thing. Things that you've wanted in your life that you've gone after, those things enabled you to do it. And some people say that it's a spiritual thing, it's God or the universe. Maybe, fine. But it's also the way your brain works. Because the more you think about it, and the more especially you feel the emotion of, oh, this is going to be so great, this is what it'd feel like, it'd be wonderful, things like that, then that's when you create new neural pathways like a hard drive in the computer that become very prominent. And your prefrontal cortex, which is like the Intel processor in a computer, says, whoa, this is important. So it gets the reticular activating system in it going. And what happens? You start having realizations. You start noticing things. And it starts happening and manifesting itself for you. You've used it before. You can use it now to make it happen like a pro. So there you have it. This is so doable. It is available for almost all of us if we step up and do it, because only you can design the life that's right for you. Society, parents, even if you defined what the default life is, there are certain aspects of it that you might want, or you might say, I want the opposite of that. But it's there and available for all of us. I didn't want that regret on my deathbed that I never lived the life that was right for me. And I found these methods, and other people have found these methods to be so doable. And the worst thing is you might be saying, why didn't I do this 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, or whatever? It's there for all of us if you take the steps and the actions with the determination that, you know what, damn it, it's my turn in life to design the life and customize the existence that's right for me. Good luck.
Learn more ways to enhance your life and discover a new way forward that's perfect for you by watching these videos or any others on my channel. Oh, and be sure to subscribe.